Hi, sometimes you may want to change the background image using the page builder of a row or a column. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. First, you'll want to launch the page builder. And once the page builder reloads and loads the page builder interface, you should see these wireframe kind of elements show up around each module. So, and you can also see sort of how the page is outlined. With the outline panel, you can see that there are rows, and inside the rows there are columns, and inside the columns there are different types of modules. Okay, you can scroll on through the page and see that here, for instance, there are 4 columns inside of this row. And that may be helpful as well, just to know that. But let's say we want to change the background image of this, where this city image is. At the bottom of this row, and it does the bottom of the row only on the top row because it doesn't want to conflict with your header. You might also see it at the top left corner of the row, but you'll see row settings. So this is the row settings for this row. And if I hover over here, you'll see the row settings then for the row that's above. So I'll click on row settings. And then actually it's pretty easy. If you just scroll down inside the style tab, you'll see that there is a background type of photo, and you can actually change that to a video if you want. You can change it to a slideshow that goes through different images. You could change it to just a color or just a gradient. So like here's the color, you can change that color to whatever you'd like it to be. Same with a gradient, it's just 2 colors that kind of let's see here, do this. It's just taking a moment just to kind of get that going, but there we go. So there's the gradient option, but we're talking about the photo option here. So if the background type is set to photo, there we go. You'll see the photo here, and actually you'll also see a background overlay option. Because I cycled through all those different options, it kind of got rid of my background overlay. So let me fix that first. We typically use a dark overlay and then set it to a little transparent so that the text is really easily readable over the image. But then to change this photo, what you would do is you would hit remove. And that's going to remove the photo, so now you're just going to see the background color that I had set when I had it set to color. And then you'll see if I click on select photo, now I can select a new photo to replace that. So first it's going to load up my media library, and we'll just use this one. And then that's going to show what that row looks like with that photo in the background. And then you can do some other things as well. You can change the way that the background is positioned. You can position it right in the center. See, now we're seeing our mountains more. Or if you wanted to make sure you saw those mountains for sure, you don't want to do center top. And then you're getting more of the skyline in, meaning so your image starts at the top of the image, right? Because background images will have to crop depending on the size of your device, right? The height relies on how much content there is in the row, but your width depends on how big of a device you have or how big your browser window is set. So you may have to change that a little bit. Also, you can do scrolled or fixed. If you do fixed, the image stays where it is, and then when you scroll on the page, the content scrolls above the image. So that's an option as well. And you can do different scales and things like that. So that's how to change an image in a background row. If I wanted to keep this, I would hit save, and then that's going to save those changes, and then I can go make changes to the rest of the page. If I wanted to, if I was done making changes to the page and wanted to publish them, I click done and then publish. Now, because I'm recording this video, actually I'm going to discard my changes, and that will set it back to the way it was before I started making changes. And there we are. So let me also show you how to use, how to change the background images in columns. Columns are a little different. In fact, I'll just use these columns right here on this home page. And what we'll do is we'll add a background image to them. So I'm launching back into the page builder, and here I have these columns. And you'll see that if you remember when we looked at this column, it has multiple modules in it. These columns each just have one module. There's one callout module that adds the icon, heading, and the text. So if it had multiple modules, I could change, I could hover over any of those modules and get to the column menu to edit that column. And then you can see how it's going to apply to the whole column, not just that module. But down here, for instance, there's just one module per column. So I'll hover over the edit column icon, and there are column settings. You can move the columns. So if you just wanted to shuffle these around a little bit, you could duplicate, delete, and do some other things. But we just need to go into the column settings because we're going to set a background image for the column. So then we go down here, and right now the background type, it's set to color, although it's transparent. Really, it could be just set to none, would probably be fine too. But we're going to add a photo. So we'll change the type to photo, and then we'll select a background photo. This time let's use this. And now that column has a photo image. And then this might be a good time to think through, obviously the text probably needs to be white. So inside the column, you can actually set the text color for all of the text in that column to be white, all in one spot. So even if there are multiple modules, they will all respect that white color unless they're set specifically different. And then we'll definitely need a background overlay to sort of darken the image a little bit, right? So let's do an overlay color, and let's set it to a little more transparent. Okay, there we go. Now we're looking better here. The other thing we might want to do is add some padding around the column to sort of make sure that things inside the column aren't too close to the edge, especially once you get a background image. You can see that it feels like everything's a little too tight to the edge. So in the Advanced tab, you might add 12 pixels of, oh, I'm sorry, these are margins. Padding, 12 pixels of padding around the inside of the column so that none of the modules can get too close to the edge. And you'll just see, there it is. So now everything's kind of pulled in from the corners a little bit. If you were doing images across all these columns and you wanted a little space between the images, between the columns, you could also add some margins around to kind of keep the column from getting too close to the other columns, right? So now we've done both. And that's looking pretty good. And then you could also do something like add a, in the Style tab, you can go through and add a border radius. So I might add a 12 pixel border radius to the column. And that's going to round the corners a little bit. And really that is looking really good right there. You could add a shadow to it, change the image, whatever you wanted to do. But that is how you edit a column background image rather than the background image of a row. Okay, so again, you have to look for this edit column icon instead of trying to edit the row itself. So, but I hope that helps. If you need any help with anything, feel free to reach out to us via chat. Thank you.